France's bid to deepen defense cooperation with Sweden marks a notable moment in Europe's evolving security landscape, where strategic purchases increasingly serve as diplomatic tools. The latest discussions between the two nations, centered around Sweden's upcoming selection of a new frigate design and France's interest in acquiring Swedish-made GlobalEye AEW&C aircraft, highlight an emerging model of reciprocal military procurement. This approach suggests a shift from traditional buyer-seller relationships toward a more politically aligned, partnership-driven system of armaments exchange, one that could redefine defense ties inside the EU and NATO framework. Sweden is preparing to make a critical decision next year on the future of its naval forces. Its current Visby-class corvettes, despite their impressive stealth characteristics and successful service record, no longer meet Stockholm's expanding requirements for air defense capabilities and strategic endurance. At only 640 tons and 72.7 meters in length, these vessels were designed primarily for littoral operations and short missions in the Baltic Sea. But the security environment of 2025, with Russia's ongoing militarization, increasing threats to critical maritime routes, and the need for integrated NATO air defense, demands a ship of greater displacement, range, and multi-role capability. Sweden's plan to acquire 4 larger frigates, with the first 2 expected by 2030 and the remainder by 2032, reflects this strategic recalibration. France is positioning its FDI, Frigate de Defense ETD intervention, class as the ideal candidate to fill this capability gap. Developed by Naval Group, the FDI represents one of Europe's most modern multi-mission frigate families. At 4,460 tons and 122 meters in length, it offers a mature, NATO interoperable solution with a strong emphasis on integrated air defense. The class vertical launch systems, ranging from 16 to 32 cells, are compatible with Aster 15 and Aster 30 missiles, the latter being the same interceptor used in the SAMP/T long-range air defense system. This gives the FDI the ability to conduct area air defense, protect naval task groups, and contribute to joint air defense networks, capabilities Sweden has lacked at sea until now. The lead vessel, Admiral Ronarc'h, commissioned into the French Navy in October 2025, provides a timely proof of concept and demonstrates that France can deliver on the schedule Sweden urgently needs after missing earlier timelines for its frigate modernization program. Yet France faces strong competition. Babcock in the UK, Spain's Navantia, and Sweden's own Saab Kockums are all pushing their concepts. Saab's potential design may offer the highest level of industrial localization and technological sovereignty, factors Sweden traditionally values. Navantia and Babcock can leverage proven track records with export customers. France, on the other hand, must counter this with a combination of capability, delivery speed, and political leverage. And it is in the political domain that Paris appears to hold a particularly strong card, its expressed interest in procuring Saab's GlobalEye airborne early warning aircraft. The GlobalEye AEW&C platform represents one of Sweden's most advanced military aviation achievements, offering long-range surveillance, maritime tracking, and multi-domain situational awareness. France is looking to replace its aging E-3F fleet and has already signed a letter of intent to acquire GlobalEye. This creates a rare moment of balanced negotiations, where Sweden and France may simultaneously become buyer and seller to each other. If executed strategically, such a mutual purchase arrangement can deepen trust, integrate supply chains, and solidify long-term cooperation. It also gives France the ability to argue that choosing the FDI would not merely be a procurement decision, but part of a broader strategic partnership that ties together naval and air power modernization. This model of co-investment reflects a growing trend in European defense. Nations are seeking not only weapons but also strategic alignment. Joint purchases support interoperability, strengthen political ties, and contribute to the resilience of Europe's defense industry at a time when transatlantic reliability and global supply chains are increasingly uncertain. France's emphasis that it wishes to be not just another customer but a full partner speaks to this broader geopolitical vision. It suggests that Paris wants to build long-term defense ecosystems with Sweden rather than pursue a one-off transaction. However, significant uncertainties remain. Sweden's exact technical and operational requirements for its future frigates have not been publicly disclosed. Without these details, it is difficult to assess whether the FDI is truly the best fit, especially considering Sweden's demanding Baltic operational environment, emphasis on stealth, and rising expectations for domestic industrial involvement. The FDI's size, for example, is a large leap from the Visby-class and may demand substantial upgrades to Swedish infrastructure, training, and operational doctrine. Saab's inevitable lobbying for domestic production and Babcock's proven success with modular export solutions may also complicate France's path. Nevertheless, France's willingness to tie its own major procurement program, the acquisition of AEW&C aircraft, to Sweden's naval decision demonstrates an unusually bold approach. By implying a "you buy our ships, we buy your aircraft" arrangement, Paris adds a layer of political and economic incentive that competitors may struggle to match. For Sweden, responding to such an offer requires weighing capability, cost, and industrial return against the broader geopolitical value of enhanced defense cooperation with a key EU and NATO partner. If Sweden ultimately selects the FDI, it would signify not just a naval modernization success for France but a milestone in European defense integration. If Stockholm chooses another design, France's push for GlobalEye may still proceed, but the broader ambitions for an interlinked partnership would lose momentum. In any case, the unfolding negotiations illustrate how modern defense procurement has become a multidimensional arena where strategic interests, industrial alliances, and political signaling intersect. Sweden and France now stand at a crossroads where their choices could either reinforce bilateral defense ties for decades or highlight the limits of partnership-driven procurement strategies. The coming year will show whether this mutual courtship becomes a model for future European cooperation, or just another episode in the competitive, politically charged world of global arms sales.